All right, what's going on, everybody? This is your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and welcome to week number 7. That is right, week number 7 of 7314, which is your reference class. We are going to do a few course updates, and then we're going to look at Learning Express Library, which is available through Mizzou Libraries, and so all of you should have access to it. Gonna make sure you all are familiar just with what that database does, and you can play around with it on your own time if it is of interest to you. Remember, I am not training you how to use these databases. I'm just kind of introducing you to them and telling you how I use them in my own professional experience. And well, that's the long and short of it, honestly. So with that said, yeah, let's first get these course updates done, and then we will take a little look at Learning Express Library. So, first of all, course updates. Well, for one thing, your papers, I am hoping to get those graded in the next few days. Advising time is kind of a busy time of the semester, but then again, all times of the semester are busy, but registration is opening next week. A lot of people, you'll be able to register starting on March the 8th, so remember that. So yeah, registration is starting next week. So I've got 120 advisees, so I'm getting the advising emails. And if I am your advisor and you have a question, please feel free to email me because that is part of my job. So yes, we are doing the advising thing and everything in full swing. But here's what I want you all to know is that this is actually kind of a lull period in the 7314 course. And so it would be a good idea for you to use some of this time in order to work on that semester-long project. So I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. So let's make me smile. First of all, we don't have another sync session in March. We don't have another one until April the 13th. So Amy Nicholas will be coming to speak to us on April the 13th. Looking forward to that. By the way, Dustin really enjoyed talking to you guys, Dustin Koopman. And so, yeah, he was very happy with how things turned out, and I hope you all were as well. So we will not have a sync session in March, but we also, as you see here, don't have any assignments due in March, or major assignments. Now, we have discussion board stuff going on, but no major assignments. And this is on purpose. This is so that you can, well, for one thing, spring break kind of interrupts March, and that's why it's a little weird on spring semesters teaching this class because you have to account for spring break. But some of the other things that are going on here is that you will have that Wikipedia edit assignment due in early April. So it is still quite a ways away, but it might sneak up on you. And then you'll have the LibGuide due 2 weeks later. So it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea for you to go ahead and get started on those if you can. But the main thing that I encourage my students to do in this reference class, and I'm going to encourage you all to do this as well, is right after the LibGuide is due, you have the semester-long project is due on April 9th, right after the LibGuide being due on April the 25th. So May 9th. And the semester-long project, I want to reiterate, I think I've said this in this class before, but I need to reiterate. The semester-long project takes some students, they have reported to me 40 to 50 hours to complete. Okay, so this is not an assignment that you're going to do the night before. March is a good time to put a huge ass dent in the semester-long project, and so that's what I'm going to be encouraging you all to do throughout the month of March. So you'll hear me say do the semester-long project right now, but you're also going to hear me say that next week and the week after that. So be aware of that. Don't forget that semester-long project is something that you will have to turn in, and it will count for quite a bit of your grade, but it can be very tedious. This is tedious training. It's kind of like if you, for those of you who have ever done sports, not me because I suck at sports, but if you've ever done anything that requires a lot of discipline like sports or martial arts or dance or anything like that, then you know that it takes it can be very tedious getting your movements right, you know what I'm saying? Learning how to, do whatever you need to do in those types of physical activities. I think librarians tend to be very cerebral anyway, so I don't know if you feel the same way mentally, but I will say that, yeah, this is very tedious training. in the same way that sports training or martial arts training or dance training or music training or anything like that can be very tedious. The semester-long project, yes, is teaching you how to use the databases, what to use them for, and things like that. But this assignment is very tedious. And March is a good time to put a nice dent in it. So again, I recommend you all do that. So that is pretty much it for the course updates right now. I will be, again, I hope to be grading those papers soon, in which case you will be able to, I'll be able to give you some feedback and hopefully a check-in video soon as to how to make your papers better, or if they were great, then you won't even need that feedback. But anyway, that's where we go with that. So that's actually pretty much it for the course updates right now. I am again going to encourage you all to work on that semester-long project very heavily during the month of March. That way you won't get caught off guard during April and May. So mark my words, it is very much in your interest to work on that during the month of March. Of course, it's kind of set up that way, and I send those reminders. Also, I will be sending those LibApp logins or invites hopefully this weekend. So if you do want to go ahead and start looking at some LibGuides, and if you want to go ahead and start working on your LibGuide, that is perfectly fine. Okay, let's make me small again, and we are going to go into a different browser. Now, this is University Libraries for the University of Missouri, and we will, again, be looking today at Learning Express Library, and I'll be telling you some of the basics about what it does and all that stuff, and then it's up to you, again, if you want to master this database, to go in there and start playing around with it. What in the world? Oh, yeah. All right, so because I said Learning Express Library, if you are at the University Libraries and you go to the databases, little tabbing page here, what you can do is go to L, because that's what learning starts with, and you will come down here and you can scroll down to Learning Express Library, and you've got a bit of a well, you've got a little description here. Let's do more so we can get our full description. Learning Express Library contains online test prep materials, including the ACT, ASVAB, Civil Service, blah, 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 GRE, though, and GED, and SAT. Those are some big deals. So this is a resource for that. Now, I am going to tell you one of the reasons why Learning Express Library is pretty important, and a lot of people complain, hey, I never learned that in library school, which there's a lot that you just won't learn in library school because, again, because librarianship is so broad, there's so many types of libraries and there's so many jobs within libraries. So teaching librarianship is kind of it's a weird thing. Apprenticeships were tried in the past, by the way, because I hear all these librarians now talk about, no, you shouldn't have library school. What you should have is some apprenticeship program. When this country industrialized, that made the apprenticeship thing unviable. So you can do some historical research about that, but because I don't want to belabor this video too long, I ain't going to get into that right now. I am just going to tell you that the current setup is what's working right now. And we can talk about whether or not the MLIS serves as a barrier to people attempting to work in libraries and that sort of thing. And there are fair arguments to be made that it does. But right now, this is our setup. And again, so as a microcosm of what I was just saying, people probably wish that I would just quote unquote teach reference. And that's just not really a thing. Because there's, again, I've worked reference at a lot of different types of places, at a public library, a community college, a research institution, a comprehensive teaching institution, and whatever UMKC is. But every library I went to, the reference needs are just different. So teaching reference doesn't work because reference is localized. So when I teach reference, what I'm teaching you are some overviews, some tactics, some things that, yes, employers want you to kind of know going in, but at the same time, there's no way to just train somebody in how to do reference and then have them work in any library they want to work in. That just does not work at all. So, having said that, Learning Express Library, one thing that they don't usually teach you in library school, but Dr. Jace is going to, because that's how Dr. Jace rolls, is that in a lot of libraries, these testing books just end up missing all the time because people don't bring them back or they steal them. So SAT guides ACT guides, all of that stuff. It can get checked out and you'll never see it again, or somebody, they get legs sometimes. And that is very unfortunate, but that is a reality of this field. So Learning Express Library is something that can be used to kind of negate the issues that go along with that. So we are going to go into Learning Express Library right now. My login is already saved in there, so let's get in there. All right. Load. Do I need to pause on the load? I think I'm going to. Okay, pause. Okay, I actually ended up having to switch browsers, so I'm glad I didn't keep recording while that was going on, and I apologize for that, but we are back on track. So for some reason, Edge was just not working well with Learning Express Library. I've not heard that Edge doesn't work with it normally, so I don't know what that was about, but anyway, I am back in Chrome, and now we are in. Yeah, COVID alerts. Okay, so one thing you are going to want to do if you're going to be, I just recommend that if you're going to be in a situation where Learning Express Library is going to be useful and you're going to be recommending that to people, one thing that I am going to recommend that you do is go ahead and create a login. Now, I am not going to do it right now. I've created logins at the previous libraries that I worked at, and I need to get around to creating my login here, but So, all right, so what Learning Express Library basically does is it allows libraries to get around that issue with people stealing those prep books and things of that nature. And so there are a lot of different things that can be learned in Learning Express Library. And in fact, we are going to just take a quick little tour here. So first of all, what you will probably use this for the most is going to be that test prep stuff. So college admissions test preps. This is what you will probably use it for the most. So let's say you've got students who are preparing for the SAT or the ACT or something like that. What you can do is you can go to prepare for your SAT. And you can go in there and you will be given all of these options. So there are SAT test preparation tutorials. So there are tutorials to get better with the math part of the SAT, the writing portion, the reading portion. And actually, by the way, Dr. Jace is so old, believe it or not, that there was no essay portion of the SAT when I was in high school. So when I was in high school, I got an 1140, which isn't great, but isn't bad out of 1600. But for those of you who don't know, the SAT used to only go to 1600. Now it goes to 2400. But it didn't always do that. So if I had an 1140 out of 2400, that would have been just a complete mess. But I had an 1140 out of 1600, which again wasn't bad. It got me, it didn't get me into the school I wanted to go to, UNC Chapel Hill, but it got me into a school and I still ended up doing okay for myself, so whatever. Yes, so you have also though, you have the ebooks, at least for math practice here. And you also have the practice test here. So you can do the test prep tutorials. You can look at the ebooks for quite a few of these things, and then you can take the practice tests. Now, one drawback with Learning Express Library is that there are not a lot of practice tests. So, if you take one or two of them, with some of the modules, all you will have is one or two of them. But it's better than nothing. And how many practice tests do you want to take on the SAT anyway before you just get in there and just do it? Sometimes you just got to get in there and do it. So that is that. And, you have similar things going on for your ACT. So we're going to bring that ACT up. You actually have a fuller ebook. You have to register, though, and sign in order to access the ebooks, I believe. But, yeah. But still, these resources, these ebooks, they can help you with the test prep for that. So you've got that for the ACT, you've got that for the SCT. And then even with your AP exams, so the students are still taking AP exams and things of that nature. So AP calculus preparation, US history preparation, you can prepare for your AP exams. I think there may be okay. Yeah. So you do have the practice exams. You have two for the AP Government, for instance, and then you have this guidance here. You won't have the tutorials or the ebooks for a lot of these little things, especially with AP prep and that sort of thing. Anyway, let's go home and let's look at a few more of the various things that you have offered here in Learning Express Library. So another thing that people like to use this for is to oh yeah, and this is very important too. So with your adult core skills, one thing that public librarians, because this is a database that a lot of public and academic libraries have, and it's through EBSCO, which, you know, EBSCO is a major vendor in the library world. So this is another thing, the skills for preparing to become a U.S. citizen, that comes in handy as well. Now, as far as becoming a better reader and the math skills, I can recommend those, but also there's kind of like a, I don't know, I want to say that there's kind of a element to the, there's kind of an element to like reading better and better math that, yeah, you can point people to these types of resources, but I also think that there's no substitute just for in-class training. But the thing is, not everyone has the privilege to do in-class training. Of course, COVID has, you know, screwed everything up. But even before COVID, some people just could not afford the in-class training, or they, you know, they had other obligations that kept them from actually being able to do that sort of thing. So this could be a good substitute if it was cost prohibitive or time prohibitive, you know, or that sort of thing. All right, let's look at a few other things. Also, yeah, High School Equivalency Center. For those who may be wanting to take the GED, this is very helpful to them as well. Again, for those of you who are going into public libraries, you may be dealing with ex-cons a lot. And I certainly did when I was at the public library. And so a lot of those people are, you know, working on GEDs, coming out of incarceration and that sort of thing. So this is a tool that they can use. Okay, let's go to the, I think they actually removed some stuff that I was going to show you, so that's not cool. Now, with career preparation, though, this is another big deal. I've used nursing more than anything else, so I've never really used this for like culinary arts or cosmetology, but these things still might be useful for those types of things. Job search and workplace and that sort of thing. But nursing was the bread and butter, and nursing programs generate a lot of money for universities and for colleges and even community colleges. So when it comes to like the nursing exams, again, you have these, and these are, you have like practice exams. There's actually I think that you actually have some pretty good ebook resources when it comes to the nursing prep. And yeah, so you can check all of that. There are things for teaching exams, for real estate licenses, again, law enforcement, all of these various things. So again, if people are looking for materials for preparing for their career exams and that sort of thing, again, Learning Express Library can be a good place to point them, especially if your library is missing the resources that it used to have to help aid people with these things. Okay, let's go home. All right. I think they removed the Technology Center, and this is disappointing me because that was actually, well, anyway. All right, so we'll look at a few other things and then we will get out of here. So with college students, a lot of times they will need, you know, skill reviews in math, reading, that sort of thing. And so you can come here for those, geometry, basic, like with the math skills review, help with algebra, help with stats. Oh, Lord. And you may need some help with stats, logic and reasoning, calculus, all of these things. Great stuff, great stuff. And so you probably want to play around with that. And then again with the school center as well. So I never really used this much myself in the public library, but that doesn't mean you won't. So with the school center, this can help with supplementing classroom instruction and it can lead to success with homework and that sort of thing. So you can, again, stats practice, trig, math skills improvement. You have all of these various options here. Okay, now we're gonna go home. I am so upset by this. So there used to be, I kid you not, and it was there last semester, there used to be like a technology center in this database. So it would teach you how to use the Microsoft suite. It would teach you how to use some of the Adobe products. I would recommend this for people trying to learn Excel all the time. And yeah, it's gone. Well, damn. Okay. I don't know why that is, but okay. And then, of course, also, if you, and especially for people looking for, because I'll tell you, one thing that Learning Express Library doesn't do well that I wish it did a lot better was a lot of people are looking for GRE help too, for preparing to go to grad school. And there's not a lot, I mean, it's not easy to navigate this to get to GRE materials. So if you want help with the GRE, the best thing to do is to actually do this freeform search here. So we got GRE. And then you have various things that are going to come up. You have a drop-down menu that's going to automatically populate, but I'm going to go ahead and submit this search just so that you can see. Oh, Lord. And GRE is also picking up great. That's not great. That is not great that it's picking up great. But for instance, again, you can, so if you're looking for help with the GRE, you can click any of these. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and see what ebooks they've got. So, all right. GRE, test preparation. So all of these things are, this is GED. Yeah, so it does a horrible job with the GRE in general, but at least you have GRE, general test prep, vocabulary review, and that sort of thing. I'm going to bring these things back up now. So what happens when you do a search result, search in the search bar is that it is going to break them down by type, the resources down by type. So you've got practice tests, and again, it's picking up the word great, and it's also picking up GED, I guess, because the letters are so similar. So you're going to have to wade through some garbage in order to get to your GRE stuff that you're trying to look at. But yes, so this can be useful, like, again, if you just wanted to deal with tutorials, you could uncheck all of these except tutorials, and bada bing. You actually have one tutorial there. Lord, they do such a horrible job with the GRE, and I don't know why. But anyway, so these searches can be useful as well, and you can search for anything. It doesn't have to be GRE. So, for instance, yeah, if I had somebody who was trying to learn calculus, or trying to get some help with calculus, you can put calculus in there, and again, you'll have these options and selections come up. So that is pretty much what you were looking at there. Let's keep this under 25 minutes. I hope you sped me up. But this is it. So with that said, I am Dr. J's Peace and Grace. Quarantine in place. Do not cough in anybody's face. And I will see you next week. Thank you.